The unexpected attack. The peaceful hum of the human outpost in the distant corner of the galaxy was shattered without warning. It was a quiet evening, the stars twinkling in the distance as the small settlement went about its routine. Inside the main command center, Captain Olivia Darnell reviewed the status reports, her eyes scanning the screens in front of her. Everything seemed normal. There were no signs of danger, no unexpected activity. The outpost was small, isolated, and far from any major conflict zones. It was a place of peace, a quiet outpost at the edge of human space. But suddenly, the silence was broken. A blaring alarm echoed through the outpost, sending a jolt of panic through the crew. The lights flickered as the emergency warning systems activated. The captain's heart raced. "What's happening?" she demanded, her voice sharp as she turned to the officer at the sensor station. "Unknown ships, Captain. Dozens of them. They're appearing out of nowhere," the officer shouted, frantically typing commands into his console. Before Captain Darnell could respond, the next transmission came through, a faint, crackling voice from one of the outpost's external monitors. "This is Lieutenant Harris. We're under attack. We need backup, now." The screen showed a blur of incoming fire. The outpost's exterior defense systems flared as the first wave of alien ships entered the system. They were sleek and dark, unlike any ships the humans had seen before. They came in fast, with no warning, and no communication. Just a direct, brutal attack. "Get the weapon systems online," Captain Darnell shouted, her mind racing. The outpost was equipped with defenses, but they were outdated, small-scale. They weren't prepared for an all-out assault from a fleet like this. Another blast hit the side of the outpost, sending a shockwave through the station. The ground trembled as sparks flew from the walls. The crew scrambled to their stations, trying to restore power, but the alien ships were relentless. More and more kept pouring into the system, each one firing on sight. Captain Darnell's mind raced as she tried to assess the situation. Who were these attackers? Why now? The humans had never encountered any hostile alien force in this part of the galaxy. The peace treaty had held for years. There had been no signs of aggression from any alien factions. Yet here they were, a well-coordinated fleet, attacking without warning. "Status report," she demanded, gripping the edge of her console as another impact rocked the outpost. "We've lost power to the outer shields, Captain. The core defenses are offline," came the response from the engineer. "We're vulnerable. There's no way we can hold out for long." Captain Darnell clenched her fists. The alien ships were cutting through the defenses like a hot knife through butter. The outpost had no chance against this kind of firepower. The crew was brave, but they were outmatched. They had no reinforcements coming, no backup. It was just them against an overwhelming force. "Lieutenant Harris, report." Captain Darnell barked. Another crackling voice came through, distorted by static. "Captain, we're trying to fight back, but we can't. They're everywhere. They're destroying everything. We need." The transmission was cut off by a loud explosion, followed by a deep, rumbling silence. Captain Darnell's heart sank. They were losing. The outpost was doomed. In a last-ditch effort, Darnell rushed to the communication console. "Send a distress signal, now," she ordered, her voice fierce. "Send it to Earth, to the military command. We need help." The crew worked fast, sending out a pulse that would carry the message back to Earth, hoping that somehow, someone would hear it. The outpost was about to fall, but they had to warn Earth. Earth needed to know what was happening. As the crew sent out the final distress signal, the last of the outer defenses failed. The alien ships were inside the outpost now, tearing through the corridors. The battle was over, but the message was sent. Captain Darnell stood in the command center, looking out at the stars. It was then that she realized the full extent of the situation. The outpost, once a symbol of peace and humanity's reach into the stars, was now a battleground, a memory. But Earth would hear this message. Earth would know what had happened. And Earth would respond. The captain's last thought before the lights flickered and the screen went dark was clear: this was not the end. This was only the beginning. Earth responds. The silence of space felt deafening as the remains of the human outpost drifted in the void, burning wreckage floating like the ashes of a fallen star. The final transmission from Captain Darnell echoed in the minds of those back on Earth. The outpost was gone, and the warning had been sent. Back on Earth, the news of the attack hit like a shockwave. The distress signal was received loud and clear by the Earth Defense Command. Within minutes, the entire planet was in motion. People in every corner of the world, from the highest government officials to ordinary citizens, knew something terrible had happened. The news spread across the media, but the government had already gone into lockdown. In the halls of the Earth Defense Command, a sense of urgency filled the air. Generals and admirals rushed to their stations, analyzing the incoming data. The alien attackers were unknown, their ships unlike anything the humans had encountered before. It was clear that this was no random skirmish. It was an invasion, one that had already wiped out a human outpost and left a path of destruction behind. President Elena Vega stood before a map of the galaxy, her face pale but resolute. The entire Earth military leadership was gathered in the room, eyes fixed on the digital screens as the facts poured in. "We've lost contact with the outpost." Captain Darnell's message was the last we heard, General Bradley said, his voice thick with anger. "These aliens came out of nowhere, with no warning. They've destroyed an entire colony." The room was silent, each person grappling with the enormity of the situation. The president's mind raced. The outpost was a small station, far from Earth, but its loss signified something much larger, something Earth could not ignore. "We need to respond, and we need to respond now," President Vega said, her voice strong, cutting through the tension. "These aliens have made a grave mistake. We will make them regret it." General Bradley nodded. "We've been preparing for a situation like this. Earth's fleet is ready for deployment." A murmur of agreement spread through the room. The Earth Defense Force, long considered the most powerful military in the galaxy, had been developing a new fleet of warships, powerful vessels designed for deep space combat. Now, those ships would be put to the test. "We need every ship, every pilot. Mobilize the fleet," President Vega commanded. "This will not be a simple retaliation. We are going to show them what happens when you attack Earth." As the command was issued, the military began its preparations. Across the globe, shipyards and defense facilities sprang to life. Earth's deep space warfleet, a massive force of advanced ships, was about to be unleashed. Thousands of soldiers, engineers, and technicians worked around the clock to ready the fleet for deployment. In the hangars, the warships gleamed under bright lights, their massive frames towering over the crews that scrambled to finish their preparations. Each ship was armed to the teeth with advanced weapons systems, their hulls designed to withstand the harshest of space battles. But more than just the ships, it was the crew's determination that made them ready for what lay ahead. As Earth's warships began to take flight, their engines igniting with a roar that shook the very atmosphere, the mood across the planet shifted. People gathered in their homes, their workplaces, and on the streets, watching as the ships soared into the sky. The message was clear: Earth was not a planet to be attacked without consequence. On the command ship, the flagship of the Earth fleet, Captain Darnell's words echoed in the mind of every soldier. "Earth will strike back." The phrase became a rallying cry, and it fueled the warriors as they prepared to enter the unknown, to face the enemy who had dared to destroy one of their own. As the fleet soared toward the stars, the tension grew. They were no longer simply responding to an attack, they were embarking on a mission of vengeance. The journey would be long, the risks enormous, but Earth's message would be clear. The galaxy would remember this day: when Earth was attacked, Earth would strike back, harder than anyone could imagine. And as the fleet entered deep space, a new reality set in. The war for Earth's survival had begun. The aliens who had attacked the outpost had no idea what was coming for them. The journey to revenge. The stars stretched endlessly before the Earth fleet as it cut through the vast, cold expanse of space. The journey was long, but every second felt like an eternity to those aboard the warships. The mission was clear, but the tension in the air was thick. The crew members, seasoned soldiers and technicians, knew what they were facing, but none of them could fully comprehend the scale of what was to come. As the ships traveled deeper into space, Captain Olivia Darnell stood on the command deck of the flagship, the Resolute. The view through the massive window was breathtaking, endless stars flickered like distant beacons. But Darnell's mind was far from the beauty of the cosmos. Her thoughts were consumed with the mission ahead. The outpost had been destroyed, her people slaughtered, and now, she was leading humanity's finest into the heart of enemy territory. This wasn't just about survival, it was about sending a message to the universe: Earth would never bow to any force, no matter how powerful. The deep hum of the ship's engines filled the room as the fleet cruised forward at maximum speed, pushing their engines to the limit. Each warship was fully loaded with advanced weaponry, and the fleet was organized in perfect formation, with Darnell's ship at the forefront. In the briefing room, Admiral Marcus Cole, one of the fleet's highest-ranking officers, paced back and forth. "We've received the final coordinates," he said, his voice steady but filled with an undercurrent of urgency. "We're approaching the alien homeworld. They're expecting us, but they won't be ready for what we're bringing." Darnell nodded, her gaze focused on the map of the galaxy projected in front of her. The alien forces had chosen their homeworld as the battlefield, and it was there that the final confrontation would take place. The alien civilization, once so sure of their strength, would soon face a force unlike any they had ever encountered. "There will be no second chances," Darnell said, her voice hard. "We're not here to negotiate. We're here to make sure they never threaten Earth again." Across the fleet, the crew members prepared in silence. They knew the gravity of what lay ahead. Each soldier understood that this wasn't just a battle for revenge, it was a fight for the future of humanity. If Earth lost this war, it would send a message to every alien civilization in the galaxy: Earth was weak, vulnerable. The galaxy would become a place where humanity's survival was always in doubt. But if Earth won, it would send a different message, one that would echo across the stars: never attack humanity, for Earth will not hesitate to strike back with unimaginable force. The fleet's approach to the alien homeworld was slow but deliberate. Every ship was on high alert, weapons primed, shields up. The vast expanse of space seemed endless, and yet, the closer they got to the enemy world, the smaller everything felt. The weight of their mission pressed down on each crew member, and the tension built to a breaking point. Finally, the alien homeworld came into view. It was a massive planet, dark clouds swirling above its surface, surrounded by a dense ring of ships. The fleet was waiting for them, a well-organized defensive formation. But Darnell knew something the aliens didn't: Earth's fleet was not just ready for a fight, it was ready to decimate their world. "Time to make history," Darnell said under her breath, eyes narrowing as she stared at the planet. The enemy had no idea what was about to hit them. Admiral Cole turned to face Darnell, a solemn look in his eyes. "Once we begin, there's no turning back. The galaxy will know who Earth is." Darnell's lips curled into a grim smile. "Let them come." As the fleet moved into position, the vastness of the galaxy surrounding them seemed to disappear. It was as if the entire universe had drawn its breath in anticipation of what was about to happen. The first wave of alien ships made their move, attacking with speed and precision. But Earth was ready. Without warning, the Resolute and the rest of the fleet opened fire. Missiles and energy blasts erupted from the ships, tearing through the alien forces in a storm of destruction. The enemy, who had once thought they could crush humanity with ease, now found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer power and ferocity of Earth's response. As the battle began, Darnell knew that this was just the beginning. The alien forces would fight with everything they had, but Earth's vengeance would not be stopped. The fight for humanity's survival had escalated, and the first salvo had been fired. The battle for justice. The first strike was a roar of thunder that rattled the very fabric of space. The alien ships, sleek and terrifying, were no match for the precision of Earth's fleet. In a flash, the darkness of space was lit up by bursts of bright energy as the warships launched their assault on the alien defenders. Captain Olivia Darnell stood firm in the command center of the Resolute, her knuckles white as she gripped the armrests of her chair. Her eyes were locked onto the view screen as the alien ships scattered, trying to regroup, but they were disorganized, their formations already beginning to crumble under the weight of the human assault. "We have them on the back foot," Darnell said, her voice steady but filled with the urgency of the moment. "Keep pushing, don't let up. They're not prepared for this." Admiral Marcus Cole stood beside her, his eyes scanning the battlefield, calculating every move. "They've underestimated us. They thought we were weak. Let's show them what happens when you attack Earth." The battle unfolded before their eyes, chaos erupting in the vast emptiness of space. Energy pulses and missile fire filled the void as Earth's warships tore through the alien fleet. The alien ships, though powerful, seemed disorganized and scattered. Their defenses were formidable, but they were crumbling in the face of humanity's fury. The alien forces attempted to regroup, but Earth's fleet was relentless. Every shot, every missile, every strike was a message, a declaration that Earth would not bend. The human warships moved with a precision that made the alien fleet look clumsy in comparison. It was clear that the aliens had not expected this kind of resistance. On the battlefield, the vastness of space seemed to shrink. Each ship became a part of a larger machine, working together in a brutal, synchronized effort. The warships tore through the alien lines, leaving burning wreckage in their wake. But the alien forces were not giving up without a fight. They retaliated with fierce counterattacks, their ships unleashing waves of energy in an attempt to push back the human fleet. The Resolute fired its main cannons, sending beams of concentrated energy slicing through the alien ships. Each shot hit its mark, creating massive explosions as entire vessels were torn apart. But the enemy was relentless, and their numbers, though thinning, still seemed endless. Captain Darnell's heart raced as she watched the battle unfold. This was no longer just about revenge, it was a fight for humanity's place in the galaxy. If Earth lost, it wouldn't just be the fall of one outpost, it would be the fall of everything humanity had built. "Target their flagship," Darnell commanded, her voice sharp as the battle raged on. "If we take down their command ship, we'll break their will to fight." Admiral Cole nodded. "All units, focus fire on their flagship. We take down their leader, we win this fight." The human fleet surged forward, focusing their fire on the massive alien command ship at the heart of the enemy formation. The alien flagship was heavily armored, but it was no match for the concentrated firepower of Earth's warships. Missiles, energy blasts, and laser fire rained down on it, tearing through its defenses. The alien ship fought back, but the damage was done. It couldn't escape the relentless assault. With a final, thunderous explosion, the alien flagship was obliterated, its shattered remains drifting into the void. The impact was immediate. The remaining alien ships faltered, their attacks losing cohesion as their command structure collapsed. "We've broken their command," Admiral Cole said, his voice tinged with satisfaction. "Now, finish them off." The remaining alien ships, leaderless and in disarray, were easy targets for Earth's fleet. One by one, they were torn apart, their crews unable to mount any serious defense. The once imposing alien forces were now reduced to a smattering of wreckage, floating lifeless in the dark expanse of space. But even as the battle seemed to be winding down, Captain Darnell knew that victory was not yet certain. The aliens had brought devastation to humanity's outpost, and while the human fleet had struck back with overwhelming force, the war was far from over. There would be no peace with these attackers. There would be only the pursuit of total justice. As the last alien ship was destroyed, the fleet gathered in a tight formation around the remnants of the alien homeworld. The battle had been won, but the cost was not yet clear. The victory was sweet, but it was just the beginning of a much larger conflict. "Signal the fleet to prepare for the final assault," Darnell said, her voice unwavering. "We've come this far, and we're not stopping until we've shown them the true power of Earth." The fall of the alien civilization. The silence of space hung heavy as the final remnants of the alien fleet drifted in the void, scattered and broken. The Deep Space Warfleet, Earth's ultimate weapon, had emerged victorious, but the cost of that victory was beginning to settle in. The remains of the alien homeworld loomed large before them, once a symbol of their power, now reduced to a burning husk. Captain Olivia Darnell stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her eyes fixed on the planet below. It was a beautiful world, vast oceans and sprawling cities, now nothing more than a war zone. The alien civilization that had once thought itself invincible now lay in ruins, a broken empire shattered under the weight of humanity's wrath. The Earth fleet had struck with precision, annihilating every defense, breaking through the heart of their planetary defenses. The alien cities, once bustling with life, were now nothing more than glowing craters. The fleet had taken no prisoners. This was Earth's message to the galaxy: attack humanity, and your world will burn. But even as the fleet hovered above the wreckage, Darnell knew this wasn't just about retribution, it was about survival. The aliens who had attacked Earth's outpost had underestimated humanity's resolve. And now, Earth had returned with a vengeance. "Captain, we've completed the final sweep of the planet," Admiral Cole's voice interrupted her thoughts. "All major structures are obliterated. The remaining resistance has been crushed. The planet is ours." Darnell nodded, her gaze unwavering. "Good. But we're not here to occupy. We're here to deliver a message." The devastation on the alien world was total. Earth's fleet had wiped out their military installations, obliterated their cities, and crippled their infrastructure. There would be no rebuilding after this. No future for this once proud race. They had attacked Earth without provocation, and in return, Earth had erased their civilization. But there was a final step. A final signal. Captain Darnell had ordered the fleet's AI to transmit a message to the galaxy at large, one that would echo through every corner of space. The transmission was broadcasted from the Resolute, its message piercing the quiet vastness of the galaxy. The message was simple, yet its meaning would carry weight for centuries to come. "To any who dare threaten Earth, we will not beg. We will not retreat. We will not surrender. You will regret your actions. Humanity has only just begun to show its true power. Earth stands, and Earth will always strike back." The transmission went out, its signal rippling through space, reaching every corner of the galaxy. It would be a long time before any alien race dared to challenge humanity again. As the fleet began its journey back home, Darnell felt a sense of grim satisfaction. The cost of this victory had been high. The lives lost in the battle, the sacrifices made by the brave soldiers of the Earth fleet, it weighed on her heart. Yet, she knew that it had been necessary. The message had been sent, and the galaxy would listen. Back on Earth, the news of the victory spread like wildfire. The people of Earth, those who had watched the skies in fear and uncertainty, now had a reason to celebrate. The Earth fleet had avenged the fallen, and the galaxy had seen the true might of humanity. But Darnell knew that this was only the beginning. The alien attackers had been wiped out, but there would always be others. The galaxy was vast, and it was filled with unknown threats. But Earth had proven something important. No one could ever again underestimate the power of humanity. As Earth's fleet made its way back to their home planet, Darnell stood on the command deck, gazing out into the stars. A new era had begun. One where Earth was no longer the underdog, no longer a target. Earth had found its place in the galaxy, and it would never back down. The message had been sent, and humanity's vengeance had been delivered. The galaxy now knew that when Earth was attacked, it would not fall, it would rise, stronger and fiercer than before. The fall of the alien civilization was not just the end of one war, it was the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. And Earth would stand tall, ready for whatever came next.